Good afternoon. It's my honor to be here today and kick off this celebration of 25 years of female cadets graduating from the Citadel. A couple of recognitions. Colonel Allison Dean Love from our board is right here. Colonel J.C. Dominic is here from our board. I had a TOT on you, J.C. He flew A-10s in the Air Force, so I expected him to be close to time on target. And Deb Hargrove, who sits on our board as advisor from education. And just for my own sanity, after this, my wife Gail's here too. Better applause than I generally get from the cadets. But I'd like to take a moment to thank the planning committee for this 25-year celebration. Without your time, your effort, this panel would not have been possible, and thank you to our Board of Visitor members who are in the audience with us today. In 1999, the first female member of the Corps of Cadets, Representative Nancy Mace, graduated from the Citadel. Hundreds of women have followed her, built on that legacy, and plowed their own paths. Today, approximately 13% of each class are women, and that number continues to grow as more and more women embrace the academic and leadership challenges that await them here. Every year, remarkable women in the Corps reach numerous new milestones. From the very first woman to earn her Citadel ring, to the first female regimental commander, to the first Star of the West scholarship recipient, she's there. I'm supposed to acknowledge Bailey, but she's not on the stage, so it says, recognize her on the stage, so I'll wait. To our first female varsity athlete, to our first female piper, and there is somehow still even more first for women to accomplish here at the Citadel. As president of the Citadel, I see how remarkable our female cadets are every day. I want to extend my deepest appreciation for each and every one of our alumni who came before them. This panel is just the beginning of our celebrations of 25 years of women at the Citadel, and we hope you save the date and join us on March 1st. March 1st. You always say it twice if you want someone to remember it. Where we invite all of our alumni to return to campus, female alumni to return to campus and be honored in a parade. Don't worry, for the alumni, there will be no marching unless you volunteer. Now I'd like to introduce Brigadier General Dr. Sally Selden, Provost of the Citadel, who will be moderating this panel. Doc?
We're very excited to have you here today as we start our celebration of 25 female cadets graduating from the South Carolina Corps of Cadets. 25 years is a long time to be graduating women from the Corps of Cadets, and we've got a lot to talk about today. It's an honor to serve as the provost and the dean of the college. As the provost, I oversee the academic mission of the college. My job is to ensure that we provide a world-class education that is consistent with our core values of honor, duty, and respect. And over the years, I'm going to be honest, I've been here almost 5 years, I have witnessed firsthand some extraordinary women at the Citadel. I have been impressed with everything they've achieved academically and outside the classroom as well. They truly embody the spirit of resilience and leadership that we value at the Citadel. And it is a testament to their commitment to excellence for being here. Now, before I get started with my questions, I would ask Allison Dean Love to stand up for a moment. She doesn't know I'm going to recognize her, but I just want to take a moment. She serves as a role model for many of the women on campus, having served for a very long time on our Board of Visitors. But more importantly, I cannot tell you the number of women cadets that she has mentored personally. And so thank you, Allison, for being a role model to everybody here. We want to recognize that. And now I'm really excited to introduce our panelists, and I'm going to introduce them based on the year they graduated. And so when I introduce your name, if you don't mind waving, you guys remember how to wave? Yes, of course. So everybody knows who you are. Our first panelist is Lieutenant Colonel Mary Thornton, United States Army, class of 2005, November Company. Woo! And she's impressive. Upon her graduation from the Citadel, she commissioned as an Air Defense Artillery Officer in the United States Army. She now is assigned as the Staff Director for the Chief of Air Defense Artillery in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Her extensive military background includes deployments to South Korea, Afghanistan, and Germany. Just a few of her military awards and decorations include the Bronze Star Media, National Defense Service Medal, and NATO Medal. Thank you for being here, Mary. Our second panelist is Laura Curran, a 2009 graduate from Oscar Company. And you guys might know Laura. She returned back to campus just about 10 years ago. In fact, I'm guessing she might have recruited a lot of you in this audience. And she now serves as our Associate Director of Admissions, as well as the women's rugby coach. During her time as a cadet, Laura was the first undergraduate female physical education major and was the captain of the women's soccer team her junior and senior year. And on the day she received her ring, the Citadel women's soccer team won its first conference game ever. So you've got some firsts there, Laura. Way to go. And our third panelist, Bailey Richardson, class of 2020, India Company, is here with us today. And when she was a cadet, she was named the Regimental Executive Officer, one of the highest ranking officers in the Corps of Cadets. She was in the honors program and was engaged in undergraduate research. She was also the first female recipient of the Star of the West Scholarship, as General Walters mentioned earlier. Currently, Bailey is an MD candidate at MUSC for the class of 2025, and she plans to pursue general surgery in her residency. So welcome, Bailey. Come. And our last participant, most of you probably know Tiziana Ortega, class of 2024, Mike Company. She's a senior at the Citadel this year, studying supply chain management with a minor in Spanish. A native of Spartanburg, she serves as the executive officer for Mike Company and is president for both the Supply Chain Club and the Circle of Women on campus. She is a multiple Gold Star Dean's List and President's List recipient and plans to remain and work in Charleston upon graduation. So thank you for being here. So we're going to start today, and I've got some questions that I'm going to ask all the panelists. I've got some special questions for each of the panelists. And time permitting, I will give the audience an opportunity to ask questions, assuming we have time at the very end. And there are mics down front, so if you are dying to ask a question, you might want to take some notes on your question and be ready to jump on the mics when I open it up. So Mary, I'm going to start with you. All right, you ready?
Ma'am.
Okay. And then I'll let the other panelists jump in on this question.
Yes, ma'am.
We'd love to know how you found out about the Citadel and what initially drew you to the college.
Oh, I knew this was coming. So there I was, a high school senior from Savannah at Jenkins High School. I was in Navy Junior ROTC as an executive officer, and the commanding officer of the program asked me if I wanted to come up to the Citadel to watch Georgia Southern play for a football game. And I was like, sure, I love football. Who cares about the Citadel? Like, and so I came up and fell in love with the campus. Fell in love with the campus, the beach, the white barracks. Obviously, we knew about the Citadel, right? And I actually had a female from my junior RTC that was at the Citadel. She didn't make it. So I'm the type of person that I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to apply and do it. Sorry, Mom and Dad. They're used to it now. But that's what happened. I came back after falling in love with the campus and like, I'm going to do this. And I applied, got early decision admittance, and I just had to figure out how to pay for it. And lo and behold, I got early decision admittance, and I entered at 2001.
Oh my gosh, what a great story. Question, Citadel win that football game?
I don't even remember, man. I want to say no, but, that's beside the point.
Thank you, Mary. Laura, how about you?
Sure. So I actually heard about the Citadel in 7th grade. My English teacher's son was currently a student, English teacher, so she directed me towards the Lords of Discipline. I read that book in 7th grade and decided if that individual who was portrayed as the first African-American student could put up with everything, I wanted to be someone like him who could overcome any obstacle put in your place. So read that from 7th grade. I wanted to go to the Citadel. I'm one of those. So in 9th grade, joined JRTC, did that for 4 years, kind of building up, wanting to go to the Citadel. Same thing, early decision, got accepted as soon as I could, and was just super excited to be able to come to the Citadel.
Fantastic. Now, you played soccer at the Citadel. Was that a deciding factor for you for looking at the Citadel?
So I had started talking with the coaches, but I was already accepted, knew I wanted to come, which back then recruiting, you love to talk to a cadet who's already coming. So they were very excited to offer me a scholarship, but it's kind of a funny story because I was recruited as a goalkeeper and then put into the midfield. So, changed up my playing status a little bit while I became a student here, but they were very excited to have someone so excited about the Citadel to also come in with a scholarship.
Thank you. Bailey, how about yourself?
Ooh, so my first memory of the Citadel was actually at my dad's 5-year reunion. He graduated from here in 95, which is a big time for women at the Citadel then. And I actually sat on his shoulders as he went out on the field for his 5-year reunion. I remember seeing all the Hawaiian shirts. And later, when I was a junior in high school, I came here for homecoming. And I remember looking up and I saw all the knobs standing. And I remember I was like, Daddy, why are they standing? Why don't they sit down? This is so awkward. And he was like, well, they have to stand for the whole football game. And I was like, oh, that's a little strange. And on the way home, I was sitting in the back and I was like, Mama, Daddy, I think I want to go to the Citadel. And the Citadel chose me just as much as I chose it. I got to do a little debate for some scholarships and won a full ride, and then later found out that I got selected for the Star of the West, and I was like, okay, this is just a sign from God. So I guess I kind of owe it all to my daddy. So
I hope he can hear this conversation.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely going to watch. I'm sure he's probably going to cry a little bit.
Tiziana, how about yourself?
So I was a COVID student in high school, and since my brother was in the Air Force and I knew I wanted to follow his footsteps with everything, so I was dead set on going to the Air Force Academy. And then junior year of high school, I got hurt. I was gonna go play soccer for them, and I was like, I don't know what to do now. I know I want to do military. So then I was going to enlist because I thought college was not for me. Totally wrong. So at the time, it was August of going into senior year. And I was like, I don't have anything. Everyone's choosing colleges. I'm like, well. And at the time, my ex-boyfriend was going here, and I was like, I'm going to apply as a joke. Clearly not a joke anymore. I'm here. Boyfriend's gone, but,
I guess he didn't make it.
you win some, you lose some. And I definitely won from this experience, and I wouldn't change it for anything else, so I'm excited.
Fantastic. Challenges are part of the model at the Citadel. What challenges that you face as a cadet? How did you overcome those? And were the challenges that you faced different from the challenges your classmates faced? So there's a lot in that question. So Bailey, how about you? I'll start with you.
Oh, Lord. So challenges I faced as a cadet. I think the first big challenge that I still carry with me was during my NOB year, my grandpa passed away when I was here. And he was in the Navy in Vietnam, and I remember at his funeral and they played taps, and I was just like, oh my God, how am I supposed to go back and listen to this every night at 11 o'clock and just not lose it? But I did it, and I think everyone at the Citadel has something personal that goes on back home, and it's no one's place to judge how you go through it and how you handle it. And I think that one thing that really helped me that my classmates were there for me when I came back. And I was there for my classmates when they've lost parents and siblings and when we've lost other cadets. And I think that going forward, I always remember that at the end of the day, you have to rely on your tribe, whether that be your Citadel grads or your family. You just have to always rely on that strength. And I think the Citadel gave me, definitely taught me how to keep my composure and not veer. So I carry that forward all the time.
Do you stay in touch with your tribe?
Oh, yes. We have a group chat with some of my best friends from the Citadel, and we are very, very excited for March 1st. We're all going to come back and romp and stomp where we used to.
Fantastic. Laura, how about yourself?
Sure. So I'll do 2 challenges. So for me, especially freshman year, academics was a challenge. I love to say I was the shiniest knob out there, but not necessarily great in the classroom. So I had to actually learn some study skills, and you have to do the classroom part as well as the knob part. And then I think another challenge that, because you kind of said different than your classmates, making sure that you were seen. For a female back then, if you just kind of ran past them, they would just ignore that you existed. So you had to stop, and you had to make sure, if all my classmates are pushing, I need to stop wherever they are and do whatever they're doing, because it was easy enough to just be ignored, but I refused to be ignored. So just one of those, you want to make sure everybody sees you and can do that, which is definitely something I think you have to overcome, but made it better in the long run to make sure, when I talk to them now, when I talk to them at my 10-year reunion, we're about to have our 15, they all, you were amazing. You just never stopped. So it's worth it now. I don't know in the moment that you feel like it's worth it, but it's worth it now to kind of hear from them that it made an impact, that you refused to be ignored.
Absolutely, they saw you. How about you, Tiziana?
So I have 2 things with challenges. I strive to go for a challenge. I love, actually engraved in my ring, I have the obstacle is the way, because I always find myself naturally leading towards where I can challenge myself. So obviously coming to here, that's step 1. But 2, junior year, I had a tragedy in my family that resulted in almost losing my brother. So just that support that I got so early on Saturday morning when we had an inspection, and just everyone just told me to go, don't worry about it. And it's just nice to know that you are supported with a lot of things, even though if you don't see it, someone's always going to have a hand on your back to support you through it.
Fantastic. And Mary, yourself?
So, if I'm real and honest, my challenge, ma'am, is what you see up here on this stage, right? It's the double minority, right? The black female at the Citadel. I'm coming in 2001, making it through and surviving to 2005, and even now, 2024, let's just call it what it is. That was a challenge. Coming through November Company, and then I took rank in 4th Battalion staff, but I was the Lone Ranger, only female in the zoo. And how did I survive that? And you talked about tribe, and I'm so glad you said that. And it's great, because my tribe is over here. Just my daddy, my mama, my cousins, Colonel D, Colonel Jim Thornton, who was my battalion tag, Mrs. Jones, Colonel Curran, who called me up, say, hey, I know it's short notice, please come. Sammy D's, my classmates' parents, and there's November Company cadets now that I've met, that's part of my legacy. Ellie Guerra, who is an 01 grad, who I look up to. That's how I survived, and that was the challenge for me, and sorry if I get a little long-winded and a little emotional, it's because it is that way, and I see some of y'all shaking your heads, what that's like. What that's like, and that's what makes us so unique as women going through this institution. I'm sorry my hands are shaking because it is what it is, right? It was just hard, but we overcome it. And that's what's so great about this sisterhood of being females. And I'm so glad we're celebrating 25 years at this institution. I never thought I would be back, honestly.
Well, we're glad you're here.
And just thank God that I have my tribe and that I'm blessed to have them to support me and give me strength to be here. And I hope you ladies lean on each other, because that's what it's going to take. You know, every night that after you hear taps and you get up in the morning to survive and then thrive. Mm-hmm. Survive and thrive and know that it gets better in time. You know, hell, I'm a lieutenant colonel in the United States Army. Okay?
Absolutely. Next question, leadership. And I'm going to start with you, Mary, because goodness gracious, you've got a heck of a leadership role. Leadership is a big component of what we do at the Citadel. How did your time here affect your perspective on leadership and teamwork?
Yes, ma'am. Going back to 2001, let's call it what it is, and you know, and go with the Army and how I lead now and what we saw. You know, there's stuff that happened back then, which I'm grateful that it's changed now, where you realize that certain stuff happens, traditions that they claim were traditions that aren't. That's really just toxic leadership, right? Okay? And I'm glad that we're rooting that out, just like in the Army, in the military. There's no place for that. There is absolutely no place for that, okay? And it's up to us to make sure that we call it what it is and defend those and stop it. And so I realized that, and I look back on it, and I'm like, it's wrong. And it's up to you guys to do that too. And I actually think women do that really great. And so I try to lead by example, and I always tell my soldiers, my mentees, my peers, I treat every soldier that I have led in combat, in garrison, in every theater of operation. I've been in every theater of operation, being a great air defense officer. I treat them as they're somebody's sons and daughters. Mm-hmm. I'm leading somebody's sons and daughters, and if you treat them that way, you will never go wrong. That's my philosophy, ma'am. Mm-hmm. That's and it's just no brainer. And I don't have kids. Now I just got a really cute puppy.
That's practically solved.
Ellie Solid. His name is Charlie. Shout out to Charlie. I'll be home soon. He's a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. But I treat him, my philosophy, honestly, y'all, and I treat him as my first platoon that I had in Korea, okay? As someone's son and daughter. If you think about it and you carry that weight, you can't F it up. I said F.
You did.
Okay. And I mean, that's how I lead, ma'am. That's my philosophy.
Thank you. Laura, how about yourself? What'd you learn about leadership and teamwork?
So I want to echo a little bit about that. I know that as I go into leadership positions and as I talk with the current students that are out there now, the folks who are maybe looking at the Citadel, I try my very best to make sure that I treat everybody equally and the same. And I think that's because you do learn here that you feel it when you're treated differently, so you want to make sure that everybody understands that they're being respected. Part of my leadership, too, is my integrity is very important to me. I want to make sure that, again, everybody knows that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do even when no one is watching. I'm making sure that I'm on top of what I'm doing because it's really important to me. I think that's something that the Citadel kind of installed in me is, you know, you don't think anyone's watching, but someone's always watching, and you have to lead from the front. You have to do what you expect others to do. If I'm available and capable of doing it, I have a hard time asking others to do it because I want to make sure that if it's something that needs to be done, I'm leading from the front and I'm making sure it gets done. And so that's just it. It's just making sure everybody kind of feels equally supported under me, hopefully knowing that what I say is what I mean and doing what's right.
Absolutely. So Bailey, I know that you were at the Citadel more recently, and we've made a lot of changes to our leadership development model. Can you talk a little bit about what you learned about leadership and teamwork while you were here as a cadet?
Yeah, absolutely. I think to be a good leader, you got to learn how to be at the bottom first. You have to understand the jobs of everyone that you're expecting them to do. I think it's wrong to ask someone to do something like y'all said and alluded to that you're not willing to do yourself. So I think that's like the first thing I ever saw. And two is being a leader that's, well, what was told to me by my TAC at the time was firm, fair, and fatherly. Obviously, I'm not going to be fatherly. I'm going to be motherly. But I was blessed to see very good examples of leadership. My squad sergeant, Ben Carminucci, love him. Shout out, Ben. He was phenomenal. He was the type of leader that inspired you to do well. It made you want to do good, to make him proud and know that, like, yes, I taught her and she is excelling because of what I put in her. He didn't lead out of fear. He led out of inspiration. And to me, that's something that I'll carry with me forever, because you want people, you're not chosen to be a leader because who you are. You're chosen to be a leader because the people want you to lead them. If they don't want you to lead them, then in my eyes, you're not a leader. And I think that's what's important, is it ultimately just comes down to respect. And I think that the new leadership development model, they make sure that that's there. That's what everything's built off of.
On that core value. How about you, Tiziana? What would you add?
So for my leadership philosophy, I have two kind of. One is, like you mentioned, like if you're not going to do something, or you're not going to tell someone what to do if you're not going to do it yourself. And the other one is giving back to those who gave to me. And we mentioned Colonel Love. She was one of my first mentors at this institution. And so I always think about the first conversation that I had with her, and it just sparked something that's like, I want to be that for other females and other students. And so every day I wake up and I'm just telling, hey, is there anything that you need help with? And that's how I strive to like carry out myself and live better. And through leadership, I'm allowed to do that. And you learn a lot about people and yourself when you lead big numbers, even small numbers. Even if you don't have leadership position, like you're still learning how you can be there.
So let me ask you a different question. I'll stay with you. I want you to think back on your 4 years at the Citadel. Share one of your most favorite memories of your time at the Citadel.
I need a second. Okay. Can we ask someone else?
Absolutely. Laura, you want to jump in?
Sure. So it's actually what you mentioned earlier. I was lucky enough in fall of 2008, my last soccer season, on the day that I received my ring, I actually showed up late to warm-ups for the game, but it was our first ever conference championship win. So we beat Georgia Southern at home. I called it home puddle advantage. It had been raining. The whole field was flooded out because it wasn't as nice as it is now. But we won that first conference game. And as a senior captain and my ring day, like nothing will beat that day for me. So that's my favorite memory of the Citadel.
That is a great memory. And see, Mary, they beat Georgia Southern that day.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Probably not in football.
Bailey, how about yourself?
That's a very hard question. There are so many like good memories there. One memory that I wish I would have got to have was graduation. I like lived for the day that my dad was going to give me my diploma. So we reenacted that at home. So I got to have that. Even though that wasn't here, that was probably the best experience I've had. But one was probably a funny story that has lived in my mind forever. It was Nabier. They used to do something called like movie night, and we went to Mark Clark. We didn't watch the movie because I think it was like Saving Private Ryan, and it was very hard for me to watch. So I was the only one that brought my Nabi bag, and it was me and like 5 classmates. And one of them wanted to get a Pepsi from the vending machine, and none of them had anywhere to carry it. So I was like, shoot, I have to carry it in my Nabi bag. I hope they don't check. So we come back in, and we all like, racing and running to my room. and I'm going to give them the Coke. They put it in their sock, and all of my cadre come in because they just seem like 6 knobs go in one room, so that's questionable. And we're all sitting there like bracing, and they're messing with us, and I hear something fall out of my classmate's pants. And the Pepsi just rolled across the floor. And I remember that, I think it was Ben. Ben was like, did that just come out of your pants? I think that was probably, like, ironically enough, that is one of my favorite days because that's just something you're all sitting there trying not to laugh. We didn't get in trouble, but it was just one of those memories. You're just like, oh, Lord. Like, and only people that go to the Citadel understand how funny that is.
How about you, Mary?
I was sitting here trying to make sure that mine was PG. Y'all know, again, the Citadel. I'm just going to go with Thanksgiving and smoking cigars, right? I think that's just a really great, unique thing that we do. And when I go to SMIs and talk to them, they can't compete with us at all. But I just love that. And in my senior year, my knobs made me a cape, a Superwoman cape. I know,
That's
right?
awesome.
I know. They did. And I think my mom still had. Mama, do you have it? She's going to say yes right now. But
You should have
yeah,
brought
they
it.
made me, yeah. So I just always loved that. So I'm going to just go with that memory right now.
I like it.
I've had long enough
now
to
you
think
got
now.
it.
I was thinking of like also appropriate memories. I think my like favorite memory is probably just all the late night talks that I've had with like my best friends. My best friend is here now, and she graduated last year. Shout out to Aiden. But she and another graduate from last year, I was younger, obviously, and they just taught me so much, and like it was the girlhood that you don't really have because there's not that many females, obviously, but just to find that like reassurance, and we weren't all in the same company, but we were all in the same battalion, so we'd stay up to like 2, 3, just talking and having dance parties and shower parties and blasting all the music and Taylor Swift. But that's like the core memories that I have, and yeah.
Thank you. So I want you to think about your experience at the Citadel, and I want you to respond whether did it prepare you for life after graduation? You can project whether it will prepare you. So why don't I start with you, Bailey?
Absolutely. Medical school is very hard. Let me just start by saying that. I thought that I was smart, and then I got there, and I'm like, I am an idiot sandwich. You are not the smartest person in the room. You are a little fish in a big pond, and it's very overwhelming. They say knob year is like drinking from a fire hydrant. It is that, just like that, at medical school. And I remember feeling less stressed. I would look around and I would see people being very stressed, rightly so. I mean, we're in med school. We've tried for a very long time to get where we are. And I was just like, it could always be worse. Mm-hmm. And I remember on my surgery rotation, people would say like, oh, the surgeon yelled at me. And I'm like, that's it? That's all they did was yell? That's not that bad. So I think it definitely prepared me. Like I mentioned with my grandpa, like when he passed knob year, I learned how to deal with hardship and still be productive. Mm-hmm. My first year at medical school, ironically, something else happened. My mom got cancer, and she beat it. And there was a while there I didn't know if I was going to get to continue, but because the Citadel had prepared me, just like you have to be able to separate things and get things done and still be productive, I was able to make it through, and she was too. So, yeah, absolutely. Citadel prepared me 110% for medical school, and I'm sure it's going to carry on to residency and when I actually am a physician in like 15 years.
Mary, how about yourself?
110%, ma'am. Like 110%. And, air defense is, at the time, there was only 2 combat arms branches available for women, aviation and ADA. And, you go from here being one of the few females, and then to that male-dominated branch. There wasn't many women that I had to look up to, and so I'm very comfortable being the only woman in the room and owning it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, you know, I had 2 commands, one in Afghanistan and an infantry brigade combat team.
Wow.
You know, this is what the Citadel has prepared me for, to survive, and survive and thrive. And you wouldn't get this, you know, type of training anywhere else. And so I encourage all the women out there who want to go into the military to go to the Citadel and do it. And then if not, that's what's so great about us too. You don't have to go into the military. You can go into the civilian sector and you're ready from day one. Side note, on to the leadership right away.
Yeah.
When I became a platoon leader in Korea, you know, we went into the military at the height with the Sturge. And I thought I was going to go to Iraq or Afghanistan. It didn't happen. I went to Korea. I was mad because I wanted to go straight to the fight, right? Just like my brethren. Nope, but went to Korea. And lo and behold, not to get morbid, but I lost a soldier right away. 30 days in country, I lost a soldier. And it was traumatic, but I was ready because the Citadel trained me for it. And so 100%, absolutely.
Any other advice you've offered our female cadets who have an interest in pursuing the military?
My advice is just jump and do it. And I hope more women decide to go into the military. You know, I've had the luxury of seeing quite a few at good old Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and I bring them into my office and like just bring them in with love, and you know, because we see that band of gold, and it's just exciting, you know, to see more women in the military from our institution. And so my advice is, even if it's just the initial term, 4 years, do it. Set yourself up, all right, and then go be a doctor. Go into the civilian sector. Seriously, because they love to see that on your resume that you served our country, all right? Because they know that you're vetted and have that experience. My job before this job that I'm in was working directly with Raytheon to do the replacement, build the replacement radar for Patriot. Raytheon, one of 3 defense contractors, okay? I mean, just go and get you some additional experience. It's not hard, I promise you. It's not. You guys are already built for it here.
They made it through Challenge Week, right?
Exactly. Is that what they call it now, by the way? I just wanted to show you how old I am and to make you laugh. I know. All right. But, I mean, I joined the Army out of the Citadel. Seriously. 1, because I needed a job. Okay. Because I didn't have the networking down pat yet. 2, I knew I could see the world on Uncle Sam's dime, and he would pay for it. So go and do that and get some experience, educational experience, technical experience. And then, even if it's just 4 years, cool. Get that GI Bill, get some extra money. I got 2 degrees from Uncle Sam. All right? Paid for by him. And if you don't want to use it yourself, give it to your kids. If you're not selfish like me. All right? But seriously, I wish more would serve just a little bit. There's nothing to be afraid of. I mean, I tell people this all the time that are worried about getting deployed and getting injured. You get on a Highway 17 that used to be 2 lanes, right? Okay? Don't worry about it. The friends that I have met through all different countries, I could call them up today and say, I'm coming over, I just want to kick it. And they'll hook me up. Okay, so that's what I would say, ma'am.
Thank you. Laura, how about yourself? Did the Citadel prepare you for life after graduation?
Absolutely. So when I graduated in 2009, apparently the United States was in a recession. I didn't really realize it until I was graduating, and our graduation speaker was like, it'll be okay later. So I was concerned. So it took a while to find a job, and it's just one of those things of you keep going. So I finally got that teaching career, finally got in with the city of Charleston. Every job that I've had, I've been able to grow in that organization. So with City of Charleston Recreation, from a part-time field manager to an athletic coordinator running several of the youth sports in West Ashley to here, being an admissions counselor, to being an associate director of admissions, everything is kind of, you can keep going, you can keep doing better. You just kind of learn to better yourself and to never give up. And when you're having, let's say there's an awful day with something going on, I made it through Challenge Week. I made it through 4 years of the Citadel. What is this compared to that? Nothing. So you just know that no matter what obstacle you're faced with, you can always do more than you think you can do. So that's kind of what I took from the Citadel, and it's helped me in every career that I've had.
Thank you. Tiziana, what do you think? Do you think the Citadel will have prepared you when you graduate?
I don't even know where to begin. I have a unique background, I guess, or experience. I've had 6 internships since I've been here. I know that's like not too common, but as someone that's going into the civilian world, jobs are very hard to get, especially now. But I think just the amount of resources and support, we keep saying it, but the resources that we have on campus of just networking and connections. Like, I was in the Career Center when I was a knob, and they're like, you have no experience. I was like, I don't care, I'm gonna get experience somehow. But all of that, you just build up your background and personal development, and the opportunities just come flowing in, and I'm very grateful for the Citadel for that. Yeah, that's just very prepared.
Thank you. All right, Laura, I'm going to start with you on this one. Has the Citadel changed since your time as cadet? And if so, is it in the right way?
100%, I think it's changed in the right way. Getting to actually have first-hand experience of watching matriculation days for the last 5 years, getting to see our female events that we do before that they report, that kind of growth and development that we've had from, when I arrived and there was 2 of us in a company and in the battalion for the class, to watching there being 4 to 6 females in every company, to actually know that they're going to have more of a community, more folks to look up to. All of that, I think, is a change in a positive way. Krause Center for Leadership and Ethics came in, really, I think, in 2009, right after I left, but I think actually having a leadership model on campus that everyone is taught. Because when I was here, I like to tell folks I was taught how to be a gentleman. I know how to open doors. I know how to make sure I'm polite. It's what we were taught. So I think it's really nice that they've really opened it to be a little bit more generalized and inclusive to everyone. So I think that's a great change. I actually think the change of, so now in your company, if you are a first sergeant or a company commander, you have to leave company. And I think that actually is a huge change, because when it's your peer that now is responsible for their best friend for the last 2 years, it was very difficult and it made for a lot of struggles. But I think actually you want a position, great, you have to go to another company, you have to interact with folks you don't know. That's way more applicable to what work is like. When you move up in that management level, when you get switched to jobs, that's exactly how it is. So I think that's a huge benefit as well within the Corps. So I think they've made a lot of positive strides since I've been here.
Thank you. Mary, how about yourself?
So yeah, I already touched on it a little bit, and so I'm not going to go down that part. But yes, 100%. I think with us increasing the number of degrees, like so I came back. I think I was talking to you earlier, and I saw that you were someone else was Victor Company earlier, and I was like, oh my gosh, I wasn't here when I was here. I think that's great though, and that's the sign showing that we are sought after, as an institution, right? And we want to be, want to keep up with the nation and how they see us, right? And so it's great that we have more academic, excellence and programs, and I just hope that we continue to thrive in that way. So that's all I'll really say on that.
Thank you. Bailey, how about yourself?
Absolutely. Like I mentioned before, my dad was a graduate from the class of 95. So when I decided I wanted to go, I felt like I was getting to a very iffy population. His friends embraced me going. Classes from 90 to 95, just people that he knew that probably originally weren't the biggest advocates for women at the Citadel became my biggest supporters. And that warmed my heart to know that that's all it takes, is people knowing a woman that goes to the Citadel, to know that they belong and that they are an asset to the institution. And I've been blessed to see so much change when I was there. I got to see the first female regimental commander. We got to see the haircut rule get taken out, which is really good for you girls, because let me tell you, that was hard to grow out. We used to say we walked around like dirty Q-tips. And I got to see the second female regimental commander, like after I graduated. My senior year, we got to help plan a new, I guess, beginning of the 4-class system, like the morning PT session. We helped plan that. We helped change that. So the Citadel's always changing. And that's great, because in this day and age, if you don't change and adapt, you get left behind. And the Citadel's not going to do that. And I'm very, very thankful I come from a college that paves the way.
Thank you. Tiziana, how about yourself during your time here?
So for the last 3 years, I've seen a lot of change. One being girls can wear earrings now and have their nails painted, so that's always lovely to keep that feminine touch. Also, as being part of like the Circle of Women, a group that just is for women to mentor women, we were able to bring out a lot of concerns and stuff to people that would hear us and make changes that are needed on campus. I think one of the best changes that we've seen, even the last few months, is having female products in all the bathrooms on campus. Like, that's something that guys don't ever have to worry about. So to be able to be a part of that, to push it and just have us be heard. Also, I think the bathrobes have changed now, which is a good improvement. And just small changes, but they're small changes for other people, but for us females, I think it's huge, and we're moving in the right direction.
Wonderful. So now I'm going to ask you to think about what advice you'd offer. If you were talking to women who are thinking about coming to the Citadel, what advice or suggestions would you have for them as they're considering this? Tiziana, I'll start with you.
Advice, I think, would be you make your experience what you do. So whatever experience you want to have, you're responsible for that. I think it's cliche, but it's step out of your comfort zone. You're going to learn so much about yourself. You're going to grow as a person. You're going to meet amazing people. And just to have that opportunity that not many people do have will set you so far apart, and it teaches you so much. You mentioned being in a male-dominated industry, supply chain and logistics is basically all male as well. So the day that I step in my office, I'll be able to bring in stuff that I learned from here, and just life experiences that you won't get anywhere else, I think, is the best part of the school.
Would you tell them definitely go to the Citadel?
Yes.
Thank you. Bailey, how about yourself?
I would say go for it. If there's a position you want, go for it. If you want to graduate with a 4.0, do it. It's possible. Do you want to max out the PT test? Do it. I mean, it's just like you said, it's what you make it. The world is your oyster. You can do whatever you want if you believe in yourself. One thing I would stress is connect with your female classmates. It's really easy to think that you're in competition with each other, and that's not it. You are in competition with yourself and yourself only. I would treasure the experience of getting to come here, because believe it or not, one day when you're gone, if you're like me, you might be like, oh, it would be so cool if I could just go spend 3 days there, pick and choose what I want to do, but just to live next door to my best friends, just cherish all of those memories. There's nothing like having your friends come bust in your room at 10:30 at night and flip all your lights on and just start throwing stuff. You're never going to get that anywhere else. So just take the good with the bad and treasure it, because one day all you're going to have are the memories. So just try to be present and go for everything that your heart desires.
Thank you. Mary, how about yourself? What would you tell them?
So there's a reason why we're called the road less traveled. And that's why you should pick us. I get to go around to a lot of different institutions, a lot of different colleges, and especially the SMIs. But you see them, West Pointers, DMI. What was that? Excuse me. And they have the rings, right? And they're gaudy. They're so gaudy. They're so shiny and bright and stuff. But we're the only ones that has the band of gold. The only ones, and it's all the same. And that's what makes us so unique. It's so special. We all wear the same one. Right, ladies? All of us.
That's right.
Be a part of that. That's what I love about us. When we go out into the world and you see someone wearing the band of gold and it's the exact same one, it's special. That's where you want to be a part of, the same, that legacy. Not some gaudiness, not someone that's individualistic, the same one, all right? And you can get that here at the Road Less Travel at the Citadel, where you get discipline, where you get the high excellence of academics in a small setting, all right? Not 200, 300, where great professors are hands-on for you, okay, to make you better and challenge you to be the best leader that you can be. That's why you should come to the Citadel and be a part of this sisterhood.
Thank you. All right, Laura, finish us out. And you know what? You're somewhat advantaged here because you are a professional admissions person, so no pressure on you.
Perfect. All right. I truly believe that anyone who is looking to better themselves, they expect more of themselves, they want to see what they are capable of, the Citadel is a place that you need to be looking at. We want to recruit men and women who expect more. We are not ordinary folks. We do not recruit ordinary. If you want to know how high you can achieve, the Citadel is doable. People ask, how hard is it? Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. If you are like, that is something I'm interested in, raise your hand, step up, come to the Corps of Cadets. We will show you that you are capable of it. You know your why, you keep a hold of that, and you keep moving forward. Every single day, you're going to learn more about how great you are, how much you can affect the world. That's what it's really about. They mentioned this band of sisterhood. It's an amazing thing. You really do see that ring. People will come up to you. And the reason that it is, whether you are an 05 grad, a 20 grad, about to graduate in 2024, we all went through the Citadel system. Does it change over the years? Absolutely. Is it still the Citadel system? Did every single knob say knob year was terrible? Yes. That's okay. That's the Citadel system. We need to know that we built you up in that fire and grew you into that leader that you want to be. That's what it is all about going to the Citadel.
I'm ready to sign up. So, Tiziana, I'm going to ask you a question. You have been listening to these remarkable women. Incredible. Great stories, great insights. What's resonated with you about their experiences compared to your experience?
I think it's the fact that they did it and they believe in other women that can do it as well. 25 years is a long time. I wasn't even born, so I'm not really sure what life was like back then. But just hearing stories, not to age anyone, but just hearing that no matter what part of life or what's going on in life, it can be done. Things are always going to be better, and if you're moving in the right direction, you're going to see so much improvement from where you started, and that should make you feel proud of how far you guys have paved all of these roads for us. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I agree. I know we want to clap for you. All right, Bailey, you're the only Citadel legacy sitting on this stage. Your dad went here. You already talked about that. So how did your family feel when you joined the long gray line? What was it like in your house?
Well, when I originally said that I wanted to go here, my dad said, "No, you are not." I think he was scared. He knew how hard it was. Now, he is a little different than me. He barely graduated, senior private, Century Club. I think he did about 400 to 500 tours. So, he got the full Citadel experience. But, once I decided and I was like, I'm going to do it. I don't care what you guys say. I can do it. They embraced it. Like I said, all his friends and classmates embraced it, and the Citadel allowed me to be like the big sister that I always wanted to be to my little sister. I wanted to show her and all of my family that you can do whatever you set your mind to, but it always came back to them. I would have never got here without them, and every day I know my dad is very proud to share the same ring as me. And that's such a special experience. Even though I didn't matriculate into hotel company, we share something that it's so hard to describe. It's intangible, really. And if any of y'all are legacies, you understand. It's different. But hey, they're big fans now, so.
That's great. Now, I just got to ask you, in case one day you have children, are you going to encourage them to come to the Citadel? Laura's taking notes here.
I am going, if I have kids, I'm not sure if I will, I want to encourage them to do what makes them happy. And I think that's how I ended up here, was that my parents always, I'm very blessed to have the parents that I do have. They always wanted me, empowered me to make my own decisions. And that's how I ended up here. Because if you come here, if you're forced to come here, odds are you will not stay. You will not make it. You have to want it for yourself, and they created an environment where I was able to want it for myself. And I made it my own experience. I did not do what my dad did, thank God.
So Mary, you talked a little bit earlier about your military career. So did being a cadet influence your decision to join the military? And if so, kind of how did you work through that process?
Honestly,
Use your mic. Mike.
oh, sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I want to make sure they
I
hear
apologize. Yeah, I apologize. Maybe 40% cadet experience, not really as much. I came from an Army military background. My father, who's here, he's a CW3 retired. So I knew, again, like I said, Uncle Sam would pay for me to travel and see the world. That's always something I've wanted to do. And then I will say, more so probably I was influenced by my TAC officer, so Colonel Jim Thornton, retired. There's a Lieutenant Colonel Eric Nietzsche, he's a combat engineer. He was in the ROTC department. They kind of influenced me, and I just really wanted to see the world. I would love to say, because we were here where 9/11 happened, that was my knob year, that would have made me want to join, and it kind of did, and leadership expiring, but it was really because I wanted to travel. But I grew to love it. I mean, I love leading soldiers. I love my mission. I really do. So I can't really say that it was the Citadel experience, because that's totally different from the military. That's the other thing. The military is totally different from what we do as cadets. So don't be jaded by that. But I also love that we offer all the branches of the military. So you pick which one you want to do based on the specialty that leads you for your passion in life.
Thank you. So Laura, being involved in athletics first as a cadet and now as a mentor, can you describe how being a female cadet at the Citadel shaped your experience as a cadet, being a female athlete?
Sure. So what I would say is, back then, you were all being looked at. So we were basically told, as an athlete, you already kind of have one negative check against your name because, you're going to miss something. You're going to miss that parade. You're not going to be there. So we were always taught that, so when you can be available, you are available and you're there 100%. Make every parade you can, make every SMI you can, make sure that when you are leaving for a weekend to go on a road travel, your room is set to go, make sure your roommate is good to go. So for me, kind of as a student athlete, that's what was really important to me, and I wish that it was more that way kind of across the Corps, which sometimes it is, but I think, especially as a student athlete, sometimes they're missing on this, they're missing on that, but when you think about it as, even my rugby players right now, they're coming out to 3-4 days of practice on a weekend where you have an open weekend, you can do whatever you want. I'm taking them to go on a 6-hour road trip to go play a game somewhere. They're not getting free time. They're not getting to do the extra things. So it's not necessarily that, they're missing all of these things. They're trying to do all those things while doing the extras. And especially as an NCAA athlete, we are always described as, that's your 40-hour job week while you're going to classes, while you're trying to do the core. you have to make it all work. And you'll learn at the Citadel that everything is capable of working together, and you learn that time management. But it's really important to, if you chose the Citadel for a reason and you're trying to get as much out of the Citadel, make sure that you don't ignore that Citadel part of it. You're an athlete, but you're a Citadel cadet, and that ring is what's going to go on with you forever. If I play soccer these days, it's in a old lady women's league. It's fine. I'm not going to be a huge athlete, but this ring will go with me forever for as long as I go. And same thing with rugby. I happen to be playing on a rugby team right now, but it's that camaraderie that you kind of learn. And I also will say this. So as an athlete, I basically think the Corps is like a huge sports team. You, at practice, do whatever your coach says. In the barracks, you do whatever your cadre says. It really is, if you know how to follow directions and follow a lead, then you can be a successful student athlete here, because it's very applicable. This is a huge sports team. It's just learning how to follow directions and listen to exactly what's said, which is exactly what you do with any coach. So,
Fantastic, thank you. Colonel Hoffman, do I have time to take a question or two from the audience? Absolutely. So if you have a question for these remarkable women, I would encourage you to come forward. We've got mics in the front, and ask them anything you'd like to know.
I'm the father of two girls, a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old. And my wife and I finally have enough money saved up for 1 year of college for one of them. And we go back and forth all the time about college. Oh, so-and-so's going to go here, so-and-so's going to go there. They're little girls. They don't know quite yet where they want to be. And we do this bizarre thing between the two of us. We say, which one of these is going to the Citadel? And the answer comes back, neither of them. And I think both of us are terrified that they'll come here and they'll struggle. And so I don't know if I have so much of a question, but what do I say to myself, to my wife, that either one of those young women could come here and succeed and thrive? How do I tell them that story at this age? What do I say to them? What do I say to my wife? How do I make that case? Because honestly, I've been here for 4 years. This is a transformative place, and it would be a great honor for them to come here. They do need some scholarship dollars.
Duly noted, sir.
You can find that? Mm-hmm. So what do I tell them? Young girls, we're going to go to the Citadel, and you're going to love it, and you're going to thrive, even if you're all about Taylor Swift and a handful of other things right now. Where do we go from there?
So I think at this point, especially with young individuals, it's important for them to see everything. As we've mentioned up here, if it's not what they want to do, they will not be successful here. So it's not so much pushing them towards it, but expose them to it. Bring them to a parade. Let them see a football game. It's slowly making sure that they can see all of their options, and that's in any direction they want to go in. So when they do begin that process of looking at a college, you want them to have the knowledge and not the fear of, well, I can't choose this because every time it comes up, my parents don't like that. So it's not being kind of that negative, and you may be scared in yourself, but you know that it's a transformative opportunity. If one of your young ladies as a junior, senior in high school starts to say, man, I really like how they look in that parade, I really want to be respected as they are, you're going to be ecstatic as a parent. So letting that conversation be open, and just knowing that in admissions world, it's not us against them. It's finding the literal best college that suits every single student, because every single student is not made for the Citadel, but you have to give them all the options. You have to show them all of their pathways and let them be the leader.
I'd like to add to that. I think one of the things that helped my parents with like a lot, because they're not from this country, so I'm the first college student. And one thing that they have taught me from very young is to have confidence in whatever I do. So I think the best thing that you can do as a parent is believe in your daughters for whatever they want to do. And they might be young, but if you teach them now to be confident, they'll know that they have your support, and then they can really go wherever they want. Hopefully, Citadel.
Exactly.
Want to add anything?
I know for my mom, at least, she was terrified when she dropped me off. Not because she didn't think I couldn't handle it, because she just didn't know what was going to happen. So she said that she was waiting around after we came out the mess hall hoping to see me, and she saw someone that I graduated high school with come out, and she said it looked like a swarm, like, come to the freshmen. And she said in that moment she realized that she wasn't worried about me, because she knew that she instilled the strength and power and knowledge of myself that I would be able to handle anything. So I think the biggest thing that you could do, if you want to, like she said, expose them and let them know that coming to the Citadel doesn't mean you're different from everyone else in a bad way. It's an honor. And you can come here and be whatever kind of cadet you want to be. If you want to be a Taylor Swift girl, you can be a Taylor Swift girl. If you want to be like, I didn't choose the military, but if you want to go gung-ho in the military, you can do that too. You can do whatever you want. I think just letting them know that it is an option and that they are able to conquer it and excel is the best thing to do, and let them choose ultimately.
Mary?
I don't have anything to add. I think they hit a home run, sir, and I think you're at an even more advantage because you're here to link them up with the perfect cadet. So I just hope they give you the money.
Yep, that's it. Cross your fingers. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, listen, please join me in thanking these remarkable women. Oh, I have another question? Did I have a? Yes. Oh, fantastic.
Well, she's coming. The two in the middle. What do you think of this building?
This is really nice. I wish this was here when I was here.
Yeah, sir, I'm so salty, but congrats, cadets, congrats.
It is a nice building.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I wish you all could have seen the horrible restrooms that we had in the old building, right? So I'm Allison Love. I'm on the Board of Visitors, and for those that don't know me, I didn't have the opportunity to come here as a female cadet. The only way that I could come here was to go to the Citadel Graduate College, which was called the College of Graduate and Professional Studies at that time, way too long of a name, and got my MBA in 1993. And so I don't know if I had been able to have the opportunity to come here as a cadet. I don't know if I would have been able to pass PT. So I might not still be around, but I've been serving on the board since, Tizzy, before you were born. And so I've seen a tremendous amount of change over the years. So I just want to get a show of hands. How many of y'all are senior cadets? Congratulations. What about juniors? Yay, up and coming. Sophomores? Oh, wonderful. A whole bunch of y'all. Hey. And then knobs. Yay, awesome.
Yay.
So what I just, not a question, but what I just want to say to you all is that, and you've heard me say this before, but I have so much respect and tremendous admiration for the fact that you chose to come here and to do something that is different and to take the road less traveled, Mary, right? Yes, ma'am. So thank you so much for making the choice to come here and do this. That's what I wanted to say, so thank you.
Thank you. I agree. As we celebrate 25 years of female cadets graduating from the South Carolina Corps Cadets, we have a very special coin. And it is my honor for the very first coins to be given to this remarkable panel. So as I give them this coin, I'd ask that you give them a round of applause for all the insights that they offered today. And after that, I'm going to make just a couple concluding comments before we go out and have a little reception in the atrium, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So again, let's thank these remarkable women for being here today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're remarkable.
Thank you.
Incredible. Well done. So we're excited that this is our first official event celebrating 25 years of female cadets graduating from the South Carolina Corps Cadets. You heard about the parade that's coming in March, and we're going to have how many folks we invited back, Colonel Hoffman? 800. It is my hope that we get almost all 800 to come back to that parade. It's going to be a great day, and we're going to have a lot of things to celebrate. We're going to have some other activities going on throughout the semester. But the first activity that you can enjoy after this panel is in the atrium, we're going to have a reception. The art gallery is open. Not only does it have the combat artist art on the walls. It also has cadets who are award winners and their art also in the gallery. So I encourage you to interact with this incredible, remarkable, courageous group of women. They have shared so much with us. I know much of it has probably resonated with you. And I want to, again, thank you for being here. It's important for the women at the Citadel to come together and to recognize what extraordinary people we are and what a support system you have. So again, thank you and enjoy the reception. Well done.